Hi, I'm Jim Atkinson, Managing Partner for Avidity Wealth Solutions. We're back with Greg Litz in our final installment, Behind the Deal. Proud to say we got the deal done. Greg, welcome. This is your
Thank you.
official, you're now a partner with Avidity Wealth Solutions.
Indeed, it's exciting. Thank you.
Let's go back maybe a few weeks, maybe the last month of getting this deal done and talk a little bit about that. And honestly, it was challenging, right? You're simultaneously trying to run a firm, and that's a full-time job. And you're also trying to get this deal done, and that certainly feels like a full-time job. So you must have been getting a little deal weary, and full disclosure, it took about 2 weeks longer than we expected. So we missed our closing date. There's a few things to iron out that hadn't quite gotten done yet.
Yes.
Took about 2 weeks more. In that 2 weeks, are you starting to get a little weary? Are you wondering when this is going to end? Because by that point in time, you must be a little exhausted.
A little bit. What we found ourselves doing was, you have to wear your client service hat all the time. But what we did kind of put on the back burner was our prospecting. And that always gets a little worrisome because I'm the kind of guy who likes the pipeline to be, full. And so it got a little worrisome in that respect. Not with the deal numbers or anything like that. It was maybe fatigue on just reading documents, and feeling like I had to understand all of those before I even gave it to the attorney to review. So little deal weariness from that respect. But from running the business, I'd say the only thing that suffered a little bit was prospecting.
Was there any one thing that kind of got you over the finish line?
Yeah, really after I spoke to the attorney, right? When he said, everything is okay, Greg, and the boogeyman's not out to get you, everything's fine, that was what put me over the kind of that finish line to feel like, okay, this is going to move forward.
Looking back, you've had a little time to reflect on it. Is there anything you would have changed or done differently?
I think so. Probably the main thing would be that I would have asked for the deal documents earlier, because I got them and had to review them and turn them over to the attorney really quick. So I felt a little pressed for time in that respect. But that would be it. It would just get those 2 deal documents to me quicker and it wasn't any fault of yours or mine. It was just that's the way the timing worked out, and I felt a little pressed on that.
You got through them though, and I think you felt the other day it was all buttoned up.
Yeah, it felt everything was represented in what we talked about, and you had agreed and I had agreed that, look, whatever it is that we're talking about needs to be in writing. That way we're both held accountable for it.
Well, one of the processes, a part of the process that's still not buttoned up, I guess, is shutting down RJ Capital.
Yeah.
Right, you're still in the process of doing that, not quite done yet, about maybe halfway through that.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that piece of it? Because that's, you're kind of transitioning between 2 firms.
A lot of the anxiety revolves around making sure clients are happy, right? And knowing that, and making sure they know that this is good for them. But the other piece is shutting down the old firm. But now, while we're into this thing, maybe a month and a half or so, right, about that, is that actually is just kind of taking care of itself. You can get, overwhelmed with all the items you have to do, but just make a task list and you work through it. And here we are every day, I check something off the list. And so we're getting closer and closer to having everything from our tech stack move to your tech stack. Everything dovetails pretty seamlessly, so it's been good.
Do you feel like that'll stay on track, sort of the end of Q1 target time frame for that?
I think so. There's some pieces that we have to keep on being duly registered. There's some pieces we have to keep on a little bit longer than others. But the major expenses shouldn't take too much longer to get done.
You mentioned your clients, and speaking of your clients, how are they taking this? Because you really didn't announce it to them, or maybe you projected to a few of the clients that you might be thinking about it, but they kind of didn't know until the deal was done.
Yeah.
How are they? Are they receptive to it? How's it going?
It's true. Most of my clients are my friends, so I talked to a lot of them about it, but they've been fantastic. They haven't really, the anxiety is around, oh my gosh, they're not going to be happy. But once we've explained to them the services that Avidian offers that we didn't, they were on board.
In addition to your clients, how's the staff handling it?
Good.
There's a transition for them as well, and they knew it was coming.
No doubt, and I handled it a little bit differently in terms of having the staff be proactive in talking to you guys direct, right, as opposed to through me, because I wanted them to be look, I try to run my book of business as 100% transparent as I can, and so that's why I felt like with the staff, is like I want them to be in direct contact with you, and that kind of alleviated a lot of issues, and we were able to address things up front.
Greg, speaking of your clients, they were unaware of this deal until it was done. So how are they handling the transition and sort of the conversations? How are those going?
They're going great. I mean, that's where the biggest anxiety kind of revolved around was, making sure they understood that we're doing this to make their experience better, period. That was the first thing I always asked myself in talking to any firm was like, is this better for my clients? Number one. Number two, some of the anxiety was lifted because a lot of my clients are my friends. And so I've talked to many of them about the deal and what their opinion was. And even those I didn't speak to about it after it was announced, they were excited. They're like, this sounds great for us, and it sounds great for Susan and I, my wife and I. So, because I tried to explain to them, is like, hey, look, yes, we do your financial planning. I'm also doing my own financial planning too for the future of RJ Capital and Avidian.
As you're speaking to your clients, did the marketing FAQ, the FAQ that we put together, did that help you at all?
It did. Well, it helped with me to try to understand how to pitch it to the clients, but it also helped when I sent that FAQ to the clients. It helped them maybe answer some of the questions that they didn't ask me, or something that they wouldn't have asked me, that helped them alleviate some of their fears too.
How's your staff handling it? Because obviously it changed for them as well.
Good, and on the front end, Avidian was very good about accepting appointments with the staff direct, because I tried to, as I run my practice, I would always want to be 100% transparent. We'll always want to do that and be 100% transparent with my staff too. So I encourage them to come meet with you direct and fire questions at you direct, so that they get comfortable with the entity as well. So it's been fantastic.
It's twofold though, right? So your folks get to meet our staff, but it's vice versa too. We
No
get
doubt.
to ask a lot of questions.
You're interviewing us just like we're interviewing you, and do we all kind of fit together? And I think that takes a lot of the kind of fear out of transitioning. I try not to say the word change, because change can be kind of scary for people, right?
Sure.
So it really is more of a transition.
I think we had about 3 meetings with both teams, and it
That's
seemed like,
about right.
multiple conversations. It takes time, but I think if you're going to get it right and you're going to let everybody have full transparency, that's probably the right way to do it.
I think so. And for anybody looking at, Avidian or other firms or whomever, that, my first thought would be to take your time and ask the questions, but I also would say, don't delay it too much, because you do want to make the change that you can grow with Avidian. I wish I'd have joined Avidian 3 years ago, and now that I look at the growth. So yes, take your time, but I would say, hey, if you're thinking about it, start talking to Avidian.
Any concerns with the staff? Have they voiced any concern? I've seen them in the hallway. They seem pretty happy.
Yeah, no. What's funny is not only my staff, but myself, is I found myself motivated to work harder now because of the environment and because of the energy inside the office. Whereas when you're self-employed with RJ Capital, and maybe I'll look around some days and think, man, I'm the only guy working here. Well, I can go in the parking lot, and when I get here, there are cars here of the partners. And then when I leave, the cars of the partners are still here. So that's inspiring to say, well, look, okay, I'm going to stay a little later then too. And so the environment is, I think the change was needed for us too, to kind of reinvigorate us.
Do you think that some of that feeling reinvigorated is not having to wear 6 hats?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, now I don't have.
You're kind of down to 2 now, or something?
Right. I can pass compliance off to Hope, and pass the kind of rebalancing and trading through the investment management team. I mean, it is a huge relief, and frankly, that was one of the big top 3 topics that I was trying to create more bandwidth to go out and spend more time with my clients and even prospect more. So being able to unload all of that is a huge benefit.
Since you've unloaded it, what does your day-to-day kind of look like? What are you focusing on?
It's client focused, 100%. I mean, it's talking to my clients, make sure they're happy, make sure they understand why we're changing, what we're changing in the portfolios. It's prospecting, it's uncovering new assets that we can maybe help clients with. So it's changed my focus to my clients and prospects.
How has it changed your family life? RJ Capital will be named after your kids?
That was funny. They were all kind of like, well, wait, what happens to our name? Like, you still have your name, and actually what it does is it benefits you more too, right? And you have to sell your family too. It's like, look, this is how it's going to benefit us. You want them to see and weigh the pros and cons too, because sometimes they're your best critic because they're going to be for sure the most honest with you, right? Sure. Your family is going to be the hardest on you. So I spoke to my family about it, my in-laws about it, my mom about it. Everybody knew, and I would get their opinion.
I saw your daughter in the office.
Yeah.
You brought her in. I think I saw your son on FaceTime, maybe?
Yes, I FaceTimed my son and walked him around the office, showed him all the new services, and then Reagan came in, and she was happy because it's right next to Lululemon, so she was happy to be able to shop
that
too.
Close, right? Yeah. How's your wife handling it? She was a little
Good.
nervous in the
Yeah,
beginning.
she was, because you get 22 years into RJ Capital, and so a lot of our success is on our spouses' understanding of the time commitment, right? And so they put that time commitment in themselves to help grow our businesses, and they want to make sure it's best for everybody concerned, right? Not only the clients, but for sure for us too, right? They're thinking about the family.
Well, I'm glad it's working out for the firm, your staff, and the family. Curious, this series has documented a pivotal move for you. It's been quite a journey. What
Indeed.
recommendations do you give to other advisors that might be considering the same move?
Well, I mentioned earlier, and yes, take your time and interview several different firms, whether it be regional or local or national, but don't delay too much. If this is something the next move you need to make, because I thought about it for a couple of years, and all it did really was kind of probably stunt my growth. I should have done it 2 or 3 years ago. So, I would say, yes, take your time when you're in the due diligence process, but don't take your time in starting to talk to companies like Avidian.
That's good advice. Greg, I want to thank you for the time and the access you've provided throughout this entire decision-making process. It's been a long one. I'd like to welcome you again to the team. Greg Litz, partner at Avidian Wealth Solutions.
Thank you. Appreciate it.